about the sequencer that exists in the Medusa made by Polyend and Dreadbox. The sequencer is super straightforward just on a basic level. So we're just going to make a sequence real quick here, and I'll show you how that is done. And it's done so immediately and easily that you shouldn't have a problem. If I'm not having a problem with it, you shouldn't have a problem with it. Okay, so first, let's do a thing. Let's just make sure. Who knows what preset we're on? I know what preset we're on, but let's pretend we don't necessarily know. We want to record a new sequence. It's probably best to get rid of all the data in the whole grid section so that you can start clean. And the way to do that is relatively straightforward. You just press record, which you're going to be doing in front of most of your editing functions is pressing record first. And then if you hold and clear these two buttons here, you'll get a little window. Continue to hold them. You can do selected steps or all steps. We're going to do all steps. Select that. Okay, so now all the steps are clear, and we know this. If we press play, nothing happens. Okay, so, well, we kind of gave away that we have a 16-step sequence there, but I'll show you how to figure that out. Okay, so you're going to make a sequence, right? The next thing you want to do is sort of set up the sequence to be how you want it to be, and you would press our knob here, and first thing that comes up is tempo. So what do you want the tempo to be? I have it on 60 so that we have, if we have a 120 beat per minute tempo going, 60 would have each of these steps basically going as an eighth note. And you can set a swing functionality here. We have it set to 50 because I'm not going to do a swing sequence. We go to sequence length. You can do anything from, let's see, 1. You can have a sequence length of 1. I think that's really interesting. You can set any sequence length you want from 1 to 64. And it shows you what you've chosen, which is kind of fun. I'm just going to be really boring and choose 16. I'm sorry, that's probably really unimaginative. And then the sequence mode. How do we want this thing to play? Do we want it to play forward and then repeat? Do we want it to play backward and then repeat? Do we want it to ping pong, which is to go back and forth? Or do we want it to be completely random? I'm going to go for forward just to be boring yet again. We've already set things like the scale and the layout and root note, etc. We talked about that before. So then we're basically ready to record this thing. So to record, again, I'm just going to press record, and then everything I play will be sequentially layered into those 16 steps. All right, there's our sequence. That's what we're going with. So let's play it. That seems like a lot faster than our tempo. Might be doing 16th notes. Anyway, so that is all we need to do to record a sequence. Of course, we're in mono mode, so anything I play is going to interfere with the notes in the sequence. But we can go to polyphonic, and then I can play along. Let's change the configuration there for a second. Let's go into configuration and let's set it on, where is it? Voice priority. Let's put it on first. So then the sequencer will always be playing the same note, the same type of note. Okay, let's start that back up. And it's really great that it happens up there at the top because that's where you usually lose the high notes anyway. So you have that ability. And certainly if you've got it on P2, you have, 5 different notes. You could be playing full on huge chords. Actually, we could have had that set to, make oscillator 1. Here, we could do it. We can do that right now. Here, let's get oscillator 1 really loud. And get these other ones a little bit lower. I see. If I play in the offbeats, I'm actually stealing oscillator 1, which we're trying to direct specifically to the bass. So if I play on the offbeat, I might actually steal oscillator 1 from my chord, and then it has to play oscillator 2, which has a lower level. But anyhow, you can see how that would be super useful and super fun. So that is basically how you create a sequence. I am going to show you one thing. There's a lot you can do with the sequence once you've created it in grid mode, but right now we're just sticking to the basics of sequencing. And still in this mode, which is called notes mode, I will show you how to edit the sequence notes if you want to change them. So basically, we press record, and then what we're doing is the note that we play is going to change whatever step this is. So it's on step 1. We might actually want to change the note of step 4, but if we press step 4, it's going to change the note that exists on that square. It's going to change step 1 to that note instead of taking us to step 4. But don't worry, we can get to step 4 by turning this knob. Now, any note that we press is going to replace step 4 for the purposes of this editing. So I'm going to press something ridiculously high so we can hear that it has changed. Okay, and then it moves on to the next one if you want to change that. But if you don't want to change it, all you do is press record again, and now it's changed. Let's listen to our sequence. So it's really easy. All you have to do is press record, select the step you want to change, and then press the appropriate pad of the note that you want it to be. Now, when we get into grid mode, there's a way you can do that where you can actually see the note name. So you can make a choice based on note name as opposed to your knowledge of what each of these steps is. So that is the sequencer on a very basic level. In the next video, we'll talk about the grid and all of the really cool things you can do with the grid in regard to sequencing and actually using the grid as a keyboard.